morning. My name is Karthik. I'm the VMware trainer for the vSphere 5.1 administration. So here I'm going to train you about the VMware vSphere 5.1 administration. So this is the course outline. Here we have 9 modules. Each and every module I'm going to take a separate sections. So in the first module we have like a VMware infrastructure overview. In the VMware infrastructure overview, I'm going to cover about all the basic parts about the VMware. What is the virtualization? What is the VMware product family? What is the virtual machines? All the basic thing I'm going to cover in the VMware infrastructure overview. And coming to in the second module, we have a VMware ESX and ESXi server installation, configuration, and management. Here I'm going to cover about how to install the ESX server and the ESXi server. VMware, they're having the two types of hypervisor. One is ESX and ESXi server. I'm going to show you how to install the ESX and ESXi server installation and configuration and management. We have some management tools are there from the VMware. With the help of those management tools, we are going to manage the ESX and ESX server remotely. And coming to the third module, here we have a VMware ESX and ESXi networking. So in VMware also we have a networking concept, like we have like a virtual switch, we have a port groups, we have a policies on the switches level. I'm going to show you how to create the switches and how to create a port groups and how to apply the policies on the switches level. And here in the fourth module we have like a VMware ESX and ESXi storage. Here also we have a storage concept in the VMware level. So here we have a fiber channel SAN, iSCSI SAN, NAS storage, and local storage. So here for the fiber channel SAN, here I'm going to cover about the architecture and everything. But coming to the lab, we require a virtual fiber channel SAN. And coming to the iSCSI, with the help of OpenFiler, I'm going to configure how to configure the iSCSI SAN, and I'm going to show you that practically on the iSCSI SAN. And here we have a NAS storage. Here I'm going to show you on the Windows Server operating system how to configure NAS storage. So these are the fiber channel SAN, iSCSI SAN, and NAS storage we are going to use as a network share storage for the ESX and ESX server. And we know about the local storage. It's nothing but a local hard disk. Now coming to the fifth module, we have a VMware vCenter server and how to configure, how to manage the ESX and ESX server through the vCenter server. So here I'm going to show you how to create a virtual machines, and we have so many features. In the module I'm going to cover about all the vCenter features. Here I mentioned only few features, but here we have a 30+ features are available in the vSphere vCenter server. I'm going to take each and every feature. I'm going to take a separate section for it, and I'm going to show you the practical also. And coming to the 7th module, we have a VMware converter tool. Name itself says converter. With the help of this converter tool, we can convert the physical machine to virtual and also virtual to virtual. So, and we have an 8th module, we have an update manager. With the update manager, we are going to update the ESX server. We have update 1 and 2 in the VMware level. So we can update the ESX server through the update manager. And we can also upgrade the ESX host also. And here in the 9th module, I'm going to cover about the troubleshooting part, entire troubleshooting part. For example, my ESX server is down. So how we need to how to troubleshoot the ESX server, how we need to prepare a root cause for the ESX server. For example, if there is any problem with the vCenter server, how to troubleshoot the vCenter server, everything I'm going to cover in the troubleshooting part. This is the VMware history. So we know everyone know about the VMware, right? VMware is the American software company. It will provide the cloud and virtualization software services. See, it is one of the American software company. Here they're providing the product for the cloud. For the cloud, we have a vCloud, and here for virtualization, we have like a VMware workstation, and we have a VMware ESX and ESXi server. So here we are going to learn about the virtualization. We are not going to focus on the cloud. We are going to learn about the virtualization. So this is the first company who successfully virtualized the x86 architecture. It is nothing but a 32-bit architecture. This is the company is founded in 1998, and in 1999 this company they released the product name is VMware Workstation. VMware Workstation is a application we are using for the virtualization. And what is why they designed the VMware Workstation? Here we can run the multiple operating system at the same time on a desktop, okay? And this VMware Workstation we can also run on the Microsoft Windows platform, Linux, and Mac OS also. Okay, and but coming to the enterprise software hypervisor, VMware they released the virtualization software, that is a VMware ESX and ESX iServer. They're all bare metal hypervisor. Why it is called as a bare metal hypervisor? Directly we are installing the ESX and ESXi on the server hardware. How we are going to install why it is called as a bare metal hypervisor? When going to the next slide, we will understand clearly. What is virtualization? A virtualization is a technology that allows you to transform the hardware to software. So here VMware they introduced the virtualization software is VMware Workstation. Another is VMware ESX and ESX iServer. So if you use a VMware Workstation or ESX and ESX iServer, it will provide the virtualization technology. Now, what is a virtualization? A virtualization is a technology that will transform to hardware to software, and not only it will transform hardware to software, it will allow us to run the multiple operating system simultaneously on the single computer. And here each copy of your operating system is installed into the virtual machine. So now this is the virtualization providers in the market. Not only the VMware, we have so many virtualization providers in the market are available. So like we have a different types of virtualization. We have like a server virtualization, desktop virtualization, and application virtualization. Now for the VMware, they're having the own product for server virtualization is ESX and ESXi server. Now for coming to the Citrix, we have a Zen server, and for the Microsoft we have a Hyper-V. So in the server virtualization, here we are going to focus on the server virtualization. Okay, here in the market, most of the companies, 80% companies, they're using the server virtualization, that is a VMware ESX and ESX iServer. Now desktop virtualization, in the desktop virtualization also, VMware they're having the product name is VMware View. For Citrix we have a Zen desktop. For the Microsoft we have a Microsoft VDI. Microsoft VDI is nothing but a virtual desktop infrastructure. And for application virtualization, VMware they're having the product name is VMware ThinApp, and Citrix we have a Zen app, and Microsoft we have a Appy. These are the virtualization providers available in the market. Not only the VMware and Citrix, we have a Oracle also, they're having the virtualization, and Linux also, Red Hat also, they're having the virtualization. Now most of the companies, 80%, they're using the server virtualization, that is a ESX and ESXi server. Now this is the virtualization providers. Now this is the architecture differences. Here in this architecture differences, you can understand what is the architecture of a VMware Workstation and the ESX and ESXi server. Now here we have a three types of architecture. One is traditional machine, another one is host based virtualization, third one is bare metal virtualization. Now traditional machine, what is the number traditional machine? Traditional machine is nothing but physical machine. Here we have in the traditional machine normally. Now here in the hardware, if you see the hardware, we have a common components will be available. One is CPU, another one is NIC card, we know local hard disk, and we require a memory. Memory is nothing but a RAM. So on the top of hardware, we can install any kind of operating system. It depends on the hardware compatibility. For example, if you take, we can take like a Windows we can install, Linux also we can install, and we can also install Solaris, Unix, anything we can install on the hardware, depends on the hardware compatibility. Now on the hard operating system, we can install any application like we can install MS Office, .NET, or VMware Workstation. We can install the VMware Workstation. VMware Workstation is a application we are using for the virtualization. Now here, this is the traditional machine. Here VMware released two types of a virtualization software, that is VMware Workstation, it is application software, and they released the hypervisor, that is the ESX and ESX server. Now here this is the architecture for the host based virtualization. Here we have a hardware similar like a traditional machine. Here also we have a CPU, memory, hard disk and NIC card. At the top of hardware we can install any operating system. For example, I am going to install the Windows OS client OS. On the top of OS we can install any application, that is a VMware workstation. VMware workstation. Now if you use a VMware workstation, it will provide the technology name is virtualization. Now what is VMware virtualization? Virtualization is a technology that will transform the physical hardware to software hardware. Now this is the physical hardware. Physical hardware means we can touch the physical component, we can see the physical component. This VMware workstation will transform the physical hardware to software hardware, and not only it will transform the physical hardware to software hardware, it is going to allow us to run the multiple OS on a single hardware. Now here this is the machine. In the machine we are going to install the OS, and here we are going to install the application. So here this machine VMware technically we call as a VM. In short we call as a VM, that is called as a virtual machine. Now what is difference between the physical machine and the virtual machine? In the physical machine you have a hardware will be physical, but in a virtual you will have a software generated hardware. That is here you will have virtual CPU, virtual memory, V for virtual NIC and virtual hard disk. Now this is the host based virtualization. VMware they recommended this host based virtualization for only testing purpose. Now coming to the bare metal virtualization, similar like a traditional machine and a host based virtualization, we have a hardware. Here also we have a CPU, memory, NIC card and hard disk. On the top of hardware we are not going to install any OS like a Windows or Linux. We are going to install directly the VMware hypervisor, that is called as a VMware ESX or ESXi server. That's why it is called as a bare metal hypervisor. So here on the top of ESX and ESX server we created 3 virtual machines. Here also it will provide a virtualization technology. It will transform the physical hardware to software hardware. It is going to transform the physical hardware to software hardware. Now here also we have in this virtual machine we can install the OS. We can also install any kind of application. Now VMware they recommend the bare metal virtualization for the production environment. Why VMware they recommended bare metal virtualization for production environment? Why not host based virtualization? So here for example I have a physical machine. Here I have a physical machine. Here for example I have a hardware, operating system and the application. On the top of application we are running the multiple VMs. Now for example my server is down, maybe a hardware level or OS level and or application level. Now what will happen for my virtual machines? If all the VMs are running on this host based virtualization is a production service, all the VMs will be get a downtime. Here there is no high availability in the host based virtualization. If you go for the bare metal virtualization, here we have a hardware. On the top of hardware we are going to install a ESX or ESXi server. On the top of ESX and ESX server we are going to create a multiple VMs. Okay. Now here in the bare metal virtualization we have one of the feature name is HA. HA is nothing but a high availability. High availability is nothing but a failover mechanism. For example, if there is any hardware failure, if there is any problem with the hardware level or OS level, what will happen? This HA will automatically migrate all the running virtual machine from one ESX server to another ESX server. For we need to maintain another hardware, we need to maintain another ESX or ESX server. All the VMs will be migrated to the another ESX server automatically and it will reboot. Okay. Here in the host based virtualization we have a downtime for the production servers if you implement the production servers, but in bare metal there is no downtime for the production servers. Here it will provide the high continuously availability for the production environment. And here not only HA, we have so many features. For example, here why VMware became that much popular in the market, why most of the companies they are moving to the virtualization. See, for example, here have a physical machine. Before virtualization, if you are in the physical environment, you will have a in a server hardware, you have a different types of vendors are there available in the market. We have a HP, Dell, IBM. We have so many vendors. Here we have also Cisco. These are the most popular hardware using in the environment. Now, for example, you got a request from the customer. Urgently, he required a 10 physical servers. The customer is asking, I required a 10 servers. Before virtualization, if you want to build the 10 servers, first thing we need to contact to the vendor. For example, here I'm going to contact to the HP vendor. We need to order a 10 physical servers. So after the 10 physicals, once you book the order for the 10 physical servers, once I receive the 10 physical servers to the data center, we'll insert all the 10 physical servers into the racks. Once we insert all the physical servers, we'll do the cablings and everything will be taken care by the data center person. Now once everything is finished, we are ready to install the Windows servers in the HP servers. So how much time it will take? How many days it will take? Normally it will take, for example, if you have everything is going good, we will get a servers maybe like a 15 days or a 20 days. But if you want to deploy 10 physical servers, it may take a days, 15 days or a 20 days. But if you move to the virtualization, here in the virtualization, we have one of the feature name is template. So template is one of the feature available in the vCenter server. So in the bare metal virtualization, we have a template feature. So what I am going to do means take a hardware, on the top of hardware, install the VMware product hypervisor, that is a ESX or ESX server. Create one VM with a Windows Server 2008 operating system and convert this VM as a template. This template we are using for deploying the multiple virtual machine. It will reduce the deployment time. So here, before virtualization, if you want to deploy the 10 physical servers, it may take 15 to 20 days. But after moving to the virtualization, we can deploy the servers within hours. This is one of the key feature. That's why most of the companies they're moving to the virtualization. And we have another key feature. So for example, this is my physical server. Here I install in the operating system. I install the Windows Server 2008 OS. On the 2008, I configure the DC is nothing but a domain controller. It is one of the service which is available in the Windows Server 2008. For example, this is the domain controller. I assign the RAM 2 GB memory. So this is my physical server. In the physical server, I install the Windows Server operating system. In the Windows Server, I configure the domain controller. In the domain, I assign the RAM is 2 GB memory. For example, due to the number of users are connecting to this Active Directory server, it is consuming 90% of memory utilization. So what is the better solution? So the better solution, we need to upgrade the memory 2 GB to or 4 GB memory. So before virtualization, if you want to upgrade the memory 2 GB to 4 GB, how you will upgrade? So first, what we'll do? First, we need to shut down the server. Then we'll remove the cabinet. Then we'll insert the memory into the memory slot. Then after that, we'll power on the server. During that time, how much time it will take? It may take to upgrade the memory. It may take a 30 minutes or a 15 minutes, 15 or 30 minutes. So during that time, the users can connect it to the domain controller. So what is the use of Active Directory domain controller? Active Directory is a data service. It will provide the user authentication service. Whenever the users are logged into this workstation, the authentication will happen through the Active Directory server, and not only it will store the information of a user's information, groups and computers, everything will be stored in the Active Directory. It is a centralized server. So now the users will be unable to connect to the server, like it is 15 minutes or a 20 minutes downtime for the Active Directory. So there is a downtime, there is a business loss for the company. But if you move to the virtualization, here same we have a hardware and ESX server or ESX server. Create a one VM. Here configure the domain controller same as a physical machine. Here if you assign the 2 GB RAM. So same scenario, if it is consuming more than 90%, here in the VMware virtualization, we have one of the feature name is hot add. Hot add is nothing but we can increase the memory and CPU on the power on VM. So here, if you want to increase the memory 2 GB to 4 GB, first we need to enable this hot add feature. This is the feature available on the VM level. We need to enable this hot add feature. Then when coming to the next time, we can increase the memory, or if you want to decrease the memory also we can do through the hot add feature. But here in the physical environment, we require a downtime for the physical server. But in virtualization, there is no downtime for the production server. It is a critical or a production server. There is no downtime. We can provide the continuously availability for the production environment. Now here host-based virtualization is also called as a hypervisor 2. So this is the host-based virtualization. This is also called as a hypervisor 2. The VMware, the other name we have for a host-based virtualization is called as a hypervisor 2. It is used for testing and development purpose. And bare metal virtualization is also called as a hypervisor 1. Alright, it is we are using for the production environment. That is this bare metal we call as a hypervisor 1. Alright. So here I mentioned the application examples, and here I mentioned the operating system examples, and here I mentioned the hardware. So CPU, memory, hard disk, disk card, and motherboard. We have like a hardware. We have a Intel and the AMD. Now, why most of the companies, why VMware is the right investment in the tough economic environment? Why this is the top 3 reasons why VMware is the right IT investment in the tough economic environment. If you move to the virtualization, most of the companies, IT companies, they're moving to the virtualization. By moving to the virtualization, these are the main reasons they're moving to the virtualization. Here we have a reducing the physical infrastructure cost, and also and reducing the data center operation cost also. Here we have a power and cooling also has been reduced, and here also minimize loss revenue due to the downtime. If you move to the virtualization, here we have a high availability feature, but in a physical environment we don't have a high availability. But if you move to the virtualization, we have a high availability feature. And also if we move to the virtualization, physical infrastructure has been reduced, the cost will be also reduced, and reduce the data center operation cost. That means annual maintenance cost has also be reduced. How we are going to reduce the annual maintenance cost, we'll see now. This is the total saving per workload. For example, here reducing the capital cost, annual maintenance cost, and reducing the operation cost. Now before virtualization, we required 1,000 physical servers. If we move to the virtualization, so no need to spend the money for the 1,000 physical servers. Just you can purchase 80 physical servers. On 80 physical servers, you can install the VMware hypervisor, that is the ESX or ESXi server. On ESX or ESX server, we can maintain all the virtual servers on the hardware. Now, if you move to the virtualization, here we can save the money, like it is an example. So we can save the like a $5,816. Now, if you want to connect the 1,000 physical servers, we require the switches also. So we are using the switch. Switch is nothing but a networking device. We can connect the switch for connecting all the multiple system in the network. So we require 84 switches. So if you move to the virtualization, what happened? The networking switches count has been reduced, and servers count also be reduced. Now here we can save the $296. And before virtualization we have a real estate. That is, the real estate means the infrastructure we required to maintain all the physical server switches. We require a 2053 square feet infrastructure. But if you move to the virtualization, if you want to manage the 80 physical servers and switches and everything, we required only 257 square feet. So that means the infrastructure, IT infrastructure has been reduced after moving to the virtualization. Here we can save dollars like 431 US dollars. Now here coming to the power consumption, before here we have 470 kilowatt per hours, but after moving to the virtualization, here we have a 52 kilowatts per hour. That means we can save the power after moving to the virtualization. Here we can save $759. And here from coming to the cooling, we require for environmental issues, we require a cooling purpose, we require to maintain a ACs. So here, what is the for consumption for the cooling? We require a 509 kilowatts per hour, but after moving to the virtualization, we have been reduced at 64 kilowatts per hour. Here also we can save the $949. So this is for total overall 3 years. You can save the $8,251. So this is the example I'm saying. So company to company there will be some, we can save the annual capital cost also. So this is the, now after moving to the virtualization, number of physical servers has been reduced, networking switches also reduced, and real estate also will reduce, and power also we can save, and we can also cooling, everything this and reduce after moving to the virtualization. Now without VMware, so here we have everything is a physical servers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a 5 physical servers. Without the VMware, every physical server required a power, all require the cooling, and all we require the real estate, and we require the setup and configuration, and we require the maintenance, and we require the support for all the physical servers. But after, if you move to the virtualization, no need to require more physical servers. Just purchase one physical server. On the top of physical server, install our VMware virtualization software, that is the ESX or ESX server. On the top of VMware ESX or ESX server, we can maintain all the virtual machines. So here, what is the with VMware? If you move to the virtualization, here reduce cost has been reduced, and here we can provision. That means we can deploy the multiple virtual servers. We can deploy the servers rapidly, and here we have a flexibility and automation also we can do with the VMware. Now server consolidation. So in the server consolidation, here if you consolidation is nothing but we are converting the bulk amount of physical servers into less number of ESX servers. Now without VMware software, that is a VMware ESX or ESX server, we required a 110 servers. We required 110 physical servers. So 110 physical servers means you will have in a data center, you will have a racks. In each rack, for example, if you maintain a 10 physical servers, so we require multiple racks. But if you use a VMware software, we require only one rack. In the one rack, we can maintain the 12 servers. So that means after moving to the virtualization, the virtual IT infrastructure has been reduced. So what is meant by virtual machine? What is meant by virtual machine? A virtual machine is a software computer that looks like a physical computer. So when you using the hypervisor product, here we have a concept name is virtual machine. The hypervisor, that is it is going to create a virtual machine. So virtual machine is look like a physical computer only, but it is a software computer. But in this virtual machine, we can run the operating system and application. We can install any enterprise application into this virtual machine. So, and the operating system installed on the virtual machine is called as a guest operating system. Here, when you install any OS in the virtual machine, technically they will call as a guest operating system. Now, this is the virtual machines files. When you create a virtual machine on the ESX or ESXi server, it will create these many files. So now here let me explain you about the file virtual machine files. Here we have a first file name is virtual machine name.vmx file. So here this is the file name is virtual machine configuration file. In this virtual machine configuration file, all the configuration details will be stored in this VMX file. Normally in the physical machine, how you will verify the configuration of a physical machine? Here we have a shortcut command. We can use the shortcut command. Open the run prompt and type ms info. So if you type the ms info 32, here we can view the configuration of a laptop. Here you can see this is a Windows 7 Ultimate. So here we install a 16 GB RAM, and this is the CPU. Processor is a 2-core i5 3230 CPU, 2.60 GHz processor speed, BIOS version. So this is the way we can verify the hardware configuration of a physical hardware. But if you want to verify the configuration of a virtual machine, those configuration will be stored in this file. And we have another file name is VMXF file. VMXF file is nothing but pre-configuration file. In this pre-configuration file, all the pre-configuration details will be stored in this file. For example, I create one virtual machine with a 2 GB RAM. I send a 2 GB RAM. I want to, once I increase the 2 GB RAM to 4 GB, those configuration details will be stored in the VMXF file. And we have another file name is virtual machine name.vmdk. That is a virtual disk file. It is a, here we are going to store all the data into this VMDK file. So normally in the physical environment, we are going to store all the data in a drives like C drive or D drive. So C drive we are going to recommend that we are using for operating system. In D drive we are going to maintain all the data. So same thing in the virtual machine, we have a virtual disk. Here we are going to store all the data in this VMDK file. We have another file name is virtual machine name.nvram. So here we have this file name is virtual machine BIOS. So all the BIOS details will be stored in this nvram file. We know about the BIOS, basic input output system. In the physical machine also we have a BIOS. So all the BIOS details will be stored in this nvram file, non-volatile RAM. Now here we have another file name is virtual machine name.vmsd. So it is nothing but a snapshot database. So it is nothing but a snapshot metadatabase. So when you create a multiple snapshot, this database size will be increased. When you create a virtual machine, default it will be in 0. Default it will be 0 KB. But when you create a multiple snapshot, then it will increase the database size. We have a separate section for the snapshot. We have one of the feature. This is available in the vCenter server. I'm going to take a separate section for the snapshot. Now here we have another file name is virtual machine name.vmsn. VMSN is nothing but a snapshot file name. So when you create a snapshot, it will create a one file that is called as a VMSN. It is a snapshot file. If you create another file, it will create another VMSN file. But coming to the database, it is going to increase the database. And we have another file name is virtual machine name.vswap. It is nothing but a virtual machine swap file. It is nothing but a virtual memory. In the physical environment also we have a virtual memory. In physical environment also we have a virtual memory. Here we install the 16 GB RAM. And what is the total physical virtual memory? Here we have a double of the physical memory. That is here approximately 31.8 GB. But here also same thing. Here we have a swap file. But here there is no double of the memory. For example, if you assign 1 GB memory, for example, if you assign the 1 GB RAM, so what is the virtual memory? The virtual memory will be same size. So what is the use of virtual memory means? If the virtual machine is running with the insufficient memory, it will pull the memory from the virtual memory. And we have another file name is VMware.log. So VMware.log, here in the VM Windows also we have a concept like a event viewers. So we have a event viewers are there. In the event viewers we can see. Let me show you the how event viewer. This is a shortcut command to open the event viewer. So in the event viewer, here we have a Windows logs, so applications logs, security logs. So these are the logs will be created. So same concept here in a VMware also, logs will be, all the virtual machine logs will be stored in this VMware.log files. These are the virtual machine files. So whenever you create a new virtual machine, default it will create VMX file, VMXF file, VMDK file, VMSD, so these are the files will be created. When you power on the VM, this file will be visible, and when the VM is power on, then only we can see this vswap file. If it is power off, this file will be disappear and this file will be created. But here VMSN will be created when you create a snapshot on the VM level, then only this file will be created, or else this file will not create. But this file will be VMSDs will created, but the size will be default is 0. When you create a new snapshot, then the size will be increased. Now this is the VMware product family. So we have in the previous slide we already discussed about the host based virtualization and bare metal virtualization. Here bare metal virtualization, VMware the product, they're having the product for host based virtualization is VMware Workstation. So VMware Workstation is application we can install on the Windows, we can also install on the Linux. So here what is the use of VMware Workstation? They designed the VMware Workstation for running the multiple operating system on the single hardware. Now if you are using the Mac OS, on the Mac OS we have a host-based virtualization product name is VMware Fusion. It is also designed for running the multiple operating system on the single, and here we have a VMware player. So we are using the VMware player also as a host-based virtualization product, and we have a VMware GSX server is nothing but a ground storm X. It is also a host-based virtualization product. Now coming to the bare metal, VMware, first they introduced the VMware ESX server. So they're used for the hypervisor, and after that they introduced the ESX2, and after that they introduced the ESX3 and ESXi3, and after that they added some features and they enhanced the features and they introduced the ESX 3.5 and i3.5. From ESX2 here up to ESX1 and 2 we have only ESX version. After ESX2 we have a ESX and ESXi. This enter ESX and ESXi 3.5 and 3 we called as a VA3. VA3 is nothing but a VMware Infrastructure 3 product. So after ESXi 3.5 again they release the ESX4 i4 and ESX 4.1 and i4.1. This ESX4 and i4 they renamed the VA3 product name as a vSphere. Here before we have a VMware Infrastructure 3, they renamed the VMware Infrastructure 3 as a vSphere. Here we have a vSphere 4 for the ESX4 and i4.0 and vSphere 4.1 for the ESX 4.1 and ESXi 4.1. Now here we have a ESXi 5.0, ESXi 5.1 and ESXi 5.5. The latest one is available is ESXi 6.0. So we have vSphere 5, 5.1 and 5. So these are the management tools we are going to use for managing the ESX and ESXi server. So we have like a management tool name is VI client and vSphere client. So why we are using the VI client and vSphere client? So VI client we are using to manage the single ESX or ESXi server. Okay, through the vSphere client also we can manage. VI client we are using for the VI3 product. vSphere client we are going to use a vSphere 4, 4.1, 5, 5.1 and 5. So now here we have another management tool name is VMware vCenter server. So we have a different types of versions, depends on the ESX server version. So here we are going to use the vCenter server. What is the use of vCenter server means? To manage the multiple ESX and ESX server, we are going to use the vCenter server. So this is the centralized management tool. In the upcoming class, we are going to explain. I'm going to explain you more details about the vCenter server. We have so many features are available in the vCenter server. We have a VMware web client. So we have a vSphere web client. So this web client is available only in ESX i5, i5.1 and i5.5, and the latest one is ESX i6.0 also. So web client we are using to manage the multiple ESX or ESXi server. So we can manage the multiple ESX servers. Now we have a web access. Web access is only available in the ESX version, not in ESXi. So we are using for that VMware they introduced for a experimental purpose. So web access we can manage the ESX single ESX server similar like a vSphere client. So web access and web client we are going to access through the web browser. But vSphere client vCenter server we are going to manage through the application. Now we have another tool name is PuTTY. PuTTY is also here they're using the protocol name is SSH, Secure Shell. This is a third party tool. It is not a product of VMware. We are going to use for managing the ESX or ESXi server through the command line. This is a command line interface tool we are using for connecting and troubleshooting the ESX server remotely. So VI client is nothing but a VMware infrastructure client, and ESX is nothing but a Elastic SkyX, and ESXi is nothing but a Elastic SkyX integrated. These are the management tools we are going to use for managing the ESX and ESX server in real environment. So that's all for the demo.